You're an ass.
Thank you.
713-572-4610. Larry in Stafford. What's up, man?
What's going on, Sean? How you doing, man?
Chilling, dude. How about you?
Hey, I'm doing good. Hey, let me talk for a minute, man. Look, as a season ticket holder, I wake up every Sunday morning, and I wake up like it's Christmas because I get to drive over there on Kirby and get ready to celebrate football and watching my boys do their thing over there. And I get out there and I tailgate. I party with my friends. And then I walk over to the stadium and I watch this coach put these boys in a bad position almost every Sunday. It may not be a bad position on every series, but every Sunday you can count on him doing something.
That's the handful of plays, though, that determine the game, though. I mean,
yes.
How do they win 4 games if Gary is such an idiot?
Well, Barry, I'll get to you in a minute because I didn't say he's an idiot. See, Barry, you have a habit of when people start making points, you have a habit of wanting to jump in and cut it off and make people lose their train of thought. But I got you, so that's why I know how to handle it.
Well, it sounds to me like I'm a locomotive in your caboose.
Let me say this, Sean. See, because Gary Kubiak knows X's and O's. But he is a bad decision maker. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. See, Mr. McNabb said that he's not making bad decisions. This is the same head coach that gave the ball to Chris Brown in the first Jacksonville game last year. Then he gave it to him in the Arizona game again last year. And then he had him throw a halfback pass in the Jacksonville game last year. And he kept playing him. And if he wins any one of those 3 games, they go to the playoffs. But let me deal with Mr. McNabb. See, because as a season ticket holder, I've spent a lot of money over there on Kirby, so I understand what everybody's feeling. Because, see, it's the product. You have to give people a reason to believe in. We started this season off by saying that it was playoffs or bust. And now at 4-4, even though we're still in it, because I still believe they can do it. But it's going to take an attitude adjustment on Gary Kubiak's part. And I'm going to help him with his plan. Gary, put down the menu. Become the head coach so you can see the whole organization of your football team. Let your coordinators do what they're supposed to do. Because, see, everybody's calling for Frank Bushhead, but I don't hear anybody calling for David Gibbs' head, who's over the secondary. But that's what the issue is. Gary needs to start looking at the picture as a whole. Now, let me deal with Barry Warner. Barry Warner,
right here.
Barry Warner, you and John McClain are dinosaurs. Y'all are relics.
Really?
And you started the season off. You were excited about Gary Kubiak, and when you got that job at 6'10", you went on and on about how Gary Kubiak is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
I never said Gary is the greatest thing.
Yes, you did.
I'll tell you what, Larry, calm down. Larry, if you want to be heard, please understand one thing. I have no problem if you want to continue, but we got to take a break, and we're going to do something we normally don't do. But since you're passionate, you think I'm such a dinosaur, I'm going to show you that I'm a dinosaur. The only one. And I'm going to take heat from my program director for doing something that's out of the playbook. We're going to ask you to hold rather than tease another segment. So if you hold and chill, I'll be more than happy, since you're a runaway freight train, to get you back on track.
Who's talking about a runaway freight train? By the way, Gavin's in the elevator, so he can't hear. So
Gavin always hears. Are you kidding me?
No, he'll never know.
Oh, okay, Sean.
Teenager 610, that's the number to get in. I want to remind you, you could win a trip to Tennessee to see the Texans play at LP Field. Sports Radio 610 will fly you and a friend to Nashville to see the game. Plus, give you tickets, by the way, to the Grand Ole Opry. You'll stay at the Hutton Hotel. Make sure you just listen for that all next week for your chance to win from us to you, Sports Radio 610. Now, getting back out to the phones, continue our conversation with Larry in Stafford. Larry, appreciate you holding on, man. Go ahead and finish your point.
John and Barry, they watched Kubiak since he was a little boy. And so they came on the air and
not when he was a little boy.
When he was a ball boy for the Oilers.
And by the way,
when they were in, go ahead, Barry.
Let me make one statement that I'm going to shut my mouth until you end.
I believe you.
I want to thank you very much for something. when you put me in the same category as my esteemed colleague, John McClain, who was nationally revered and respected, and who was a better person than he is a writer, I want to thank you very much, because if I'm a dinosaur like that, then send me to Jurassic Park. Thank you.
Okay. See, don't take this as a disrespect, because see, I was taught to respect my elders, and John McClain in his day is probably one of the best sports writers there is. But what my problem with you and John is that y'all are seeing things through a rose-colored glasses. See, because y'all can't be objective when it comes to Kubiak because y'all have personal relationships with him. Let me explain to you what I'm talking about. I called to speak to John McClain on this same radio station, and he wouldn't even take my call. Because, see, I'm going to be the same person that represents the other 70,000 people that go out there every Sunday that don't care about the fact that Gary Kubiak is a great coordinator. All we care about is wins. And then you come on the air and you talk about all these great things that he's capable of doing. Sure, I love to go shopping with Gary Kubiak. I love to sit in his backyard by his pool with my feet up and talk about X's and O's. But what I'm concerned about is how come every time something gets difficult and dealing with this coach, you guys always defend him. I'll give you another example. Rich Lord on this station would not take my call when I called in to Gary Kubiak's show, because I wanted to ask Gary myself, Coach, what is it going to take for you to become the head coach that we know you're capable of being by becoming a manager of the whole team? Football is a team sport. You cannot isolate yourself with the offense and not care anything about the defense. You have to care about the whole. And Mr. McNair has had 87 sellouts, and the issue is not about the fans coming out there. It's about the product on the field. And when you and John McClain continuously defend that kind of behavior, that's what people have a problem with. And Barry, you know you've done it. We've seen you do it, and we've listened to you several times do it. And all I'm saying to you, now's the time that this team at 4-4, it's time to put up a setup, because you said out your own mouth that this team is a playoff team and it's playoff or bust, and Gary has to answer for it. Now, calling you a dinosaur, you are a dinosaur. Man, you was on this planet before I was even born.
You're right, and I forgot more football 26 years ago than you'll learn in the next 3 lifetimes, Larry.
I'm sure you have, Barry. But you know what?
And number 2, I don't know where Gary lives. Number 3, I've never gone shopping with him. Number 4, I've never sat back in the backyard with my shoes up and my shoes off, drawing up X's and O's. So before you open up your pie hole, Larry, make damn sure that you know what you're talking about, okay?
Can I make a number 5 real quick? Gary doesn't know me from Adam.
Well, John, that's good. So you just keep it that way. But I'll tell you what, Barry, every time that you get hit back, you always want to try to get offensive. But I'll tell you
my record, Larry.
You're still going to be on the air, and you're still going to do your thing. But all I'm going to continue to tell you is that, you know what they say, when you get old, you might start losing some things. And I think you already witnessed that, and I holla.
Well, very good, my friend. You continue to sit there, and you think that all I know is this: I'm very comfortable in my own skin, and I'm damn proud of the legacy that I have put forth. There's a lot more to go, but I'm even prouder of being thrown under the bus with John McClain.
Yeah. That'd be a bumpy ride. I'm just messing with you. By the way, you've got a lot of extra skin on you now because you're losing so much weight.
This is true. But I also, I don't sugarcoat. You were there at the press conference yesterday. Did Kubiak get a little testy with my questions?
With all of your questions? Or are you talking about the AFC South question?
That, a couple others.
Did he get a little testy?
Yeah.
He's always a little testy.
With me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you ask him questions that start, Gary, what's going to happen first? The hair on my bald head's going to grow hair, or, your team's going to start playing a little defense. He's always a little testy with that. But guess what? I applaud you. Well, I applaud you, and everybody else applauds you for actually doing your job and what we're all supposed to be doing. So, with people asking blasé crap questions, why don't you ask the ones that you really should be asking? And that's exactly what you do. So I give you props for that. And that's about it. Let's get out to Jaime on the mobile. What's up, Jaime?
Hey guys, good evening. Great show as always.
I mean, thank you.
Larry and Stafford can throw all his garbage all he wants to, but I've been listening to the station for years, and Larry calling in, and I'm sorry, Larry, none of your stuff holds water as long as you are having authentic conversations with people trying to yell and scream at them. Now, I appreciate his passion. He's got some points. I think ultimately, what Houston fans are been begging for and have been screaming for, and I think it's for all their sports teams, is a standout leader of men. Okay? And when I say leader of men, I'm talking with regards to, names like Lombardi, Belichick, Rex Ryan to some degree. I mean, these are men that set a plan, set an agenda, put forth a sense of urgency, have authentic conversations with their football players, with the media, with themselves, understand their strengths, understand their weaknesses, and garner respect, from their fans, from their media, from their players by pretty much talking the talk, walking the walk, and holding themselves accountable. Now, Gary Kubiak's is very good when it comes to saying, you know what, and I'm sorry, I'm responsible, I'm taking it on the chin. But ultimately, if Mr. McNair is not putting any pressure on him, saying, you know what, Gary, you got all the time in the world, how do you think that translates to the players on the team? Okay? There is no sense of urgency for playoffs. If we don't make the playoffs this year, guess what? Nothing's going to happen to Gary. Nothing's going to happen to the players on the team.
That's the key, though, Jaime. That's the key. And here's where the gray area is. Here's where the complex is when Gary does say that, when he falls on the sword, it's all on me, it's all on me. I mean, you're questioning, what message does that convey to his players? And I'll tell you this, it might just be that this is exactly what we hear through the media, on TV and on the microphones, that, the players got Gary's back. I really do believe that they have his back. I don't think Gary could ever really lose this locker room.
But again, I don't think the conversation's about Gary losing the locker room.
No.
I think the conversation.
You asked about sense of urgency. That, I think, is a little bit different, and that's something that this team doesn't have, at least since week one.
I got you, but here's the thing, right? It's all about setting goals and executing goals, right? So, again, if we're setting a goal to make the playoffs, right, Gary, as a leader, has got to have an understanding with the team. Listen, injuries, guys, I get it, but the whole rest of the league has to deal with that. It's got to be about execution. Defense, you got to stop feeling sorry for yourselves. You got to stop pressing yourselves. You got to stop worrying about making mistakes and going out there and just trying to execute. Offense, same thing. Okay?